Hello and welcome into the SMITE World Championships. It's finals day and the crowd is, well, gearing up. We gave them thunder sticks. How stupid are we? My ears are going to be raining all day again. I'm here joined on the desk for the Season 10 Showmatch by three wonderful individuals. I'm to lie, you're
Thanks,
here.
man. I
You're
appreciate
here.
that. Graham, that was so nice of you, man.
I know,
Thank
I forgot you were with me.
You miss me so much. It's so
Not
crazy.
really. I mean, I
No,
stopped.
he does.
No,
He does,
I didn't.
for sure.
But I'm also joined by Lermy and Clumsy as well, two other developers for Season 10 of SMITE. I do want to touch real quick. You've all casted before. I kind of want to ask the audiences for the Season 10 match real quick, okay? Before I do anything else. We have two ways we can do this. These guys don't know I was going to do this today. Would you want a hype cast, or do you want us to actually deep dive dev? Because obviously there's a lot of stuff. So we'll do on cheering, okay? So first of all, deep dive dev, first of all. Do you want a hype cast? I had a feeling they might want to do it. I'm sorry, but these guys have all casted at some point with me, and now they're on the spot now. I mean, no, you're useless. I carried you for years. I'm so glad you're gone at this point. Goodness gracious. Season 10 show match is right around the corner. We'll introduce the players shortly. I believe I should talk about one of our sponsors, Skulls, who you may have seen in venue here earlier on, having the opportunity to throw stuff out on stage. I do know there is a couple of things that they've got on sale at the moment. If they've not got it in stock in the venue, guys, you can also go to their booth and also get it ordered online. And all weekend on, I believe there is an opportunity to get discounts online of shipping and also here in venue. So you guys watching at home should also be able to do it as well. But on top of those shirts and stuff that's available for you all, there's t-shirts and other memorabilia available online. And also a few fans in the crowd have been walking around with this. Oh, I'll move it over here.
It's
Get
clean.
in front of
Yeah,
your
thank
face.
you. What? Okay, yeah,
It's so
this is
much
fine.
better.
Yep, here you
I like
go.
that there, yeah. There's mouse mats available for you guys to be able to purchase online as well as here at the venue. A lot of people have been getting that signed this weekend, so make sure you pick them up.
And it smells good.
Does it?
Sure, why not?
Okay, yeah, great bit. Well, that really worked out well.
That was on you.
So I don't even know who's competing in the show match today, and I haven't really deep dove into the patch notes. So we're really going to fly by the seat of our pants here, because I don't even think the players really know either, right?
I gave them a completely psychotic, unhinged information dump over like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think they all looked significantly more confused after I started talking. So hopefully I have sown some chaos in there, and we can see some really weird stuff.
Lermy, coming to you next real quick. The only thing I kind of saw through the fly-through, some of these choke corridors in the jungle look really tight.
They are, and that's the part of the geography change that's been really exciting, is we've changed how you fight in a lot of these late game team fights, especially around objectives like Fire Giant and Gold Fury, and even Pyromancer too is moved out of the pit. So, I mean, that's a whole new space to fight around, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see how they do it.
Well, mentioned the corridors, you mentioned the pit there, Clumsy. The pit areas around Fire Giant, it looked different to me. There was more entrances?
Yeah, I mean, now the Fire Giant's going to be centered in the center of that pit, so you can fight all around that, and that's going to produce a lot of unique circumstances.
You can't ward all the areas aggro. How are they going to deal with it?
No, it takes like 2 to 3 wards to fully cover fire in our experience, so it lets you have a lot more information in the fights. As soon as people start coming in, and you can run behind the Fire Giant or around the other way, it gets really chaotic really quickly. Plus, there's a whole bunch of new fire mechanics and attacks and all that kind of stuff that I gave them a fair warning in there that I wouldn't mess around with the Fire Giant. The new Surtur was great and all in what he did, but this new guy is pretty strong.
Lermy, how do you feel? What are you most excited about these guys messing around with on the map today? What is the thing you're expecting to be like, oh, I really want to see him do this?
I cannot wait to see how they start on this map. With the Unleashed jungle camps, there are so many different ways that you can start on this map, so many amazing strategies that we've tested in playtest, of course, but I'm not even confident that they'll do the start that we've been testing. So, you know, I want to see them get creative. I'm really interested to see who's going to be able to master these jungle mechanics and really be efficient with it.
I want to push that conversation a little bit further as well with these jungle completion. Clumsy, can I round up the whole jungle and like just, you know, walk it to a tower or something and just farm for free as a support? Well, this sounds great.
Well, if you do bring any of your Unleashed jungle, because you can only do it on your side of the jungle, you can't invade the enemy jungle and bring their ones out. That's not gonna, or any of the neutral ones either. But if you do bring your Unleashed jungle to a tower, it will be the reduced reward. So
Okay,
you're not going to get everything just for that help.
Good, but I can take it away from my team and farm it all. Okay.
Yeah, for reduced gold, if you wanted to.
Yeah. Well, supporters get no gold anyway, so I get free gold now, and the jungler gets nothing. It's going to be great. I'm excited to see how this plays out. We should be ready on stage, though, to see our first team. I told you, I heard the player names, but I've already forgotten.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not even sure. Okay, it's Nika, El Leon, Double J? Yeah, Double J. Who's that further down?
That's Inbound.
Wait, did he play once?
Earlier this year, yeah. He played a little bit. The year before that.
Give me a wave, Bobby. Bobby, give me a wave. He's dead.
Wow, ego.
Whoa, that's why. Yeah, that's
smart.
That's pretty much why that's the case. And obviously Rex then. Oh, now Bobby's waving.
There they are.
Hooray! They got the message. Whoa. Well, we can have a little look at the other side as well eventually, see who's over there. I do know we got Deathwalker up there. So we got Deathwalker versus
He's going to be the best dressed, yeah.
Deathwalker versus Nika in the solo lane is very exciting for me for this one.
And I think solo and tanks in general probably get the most new, unique things to play with. We'll be talking about that in a little bit. But I can't wait to see, particularly those two, two of our players who just put the most hours in playing the game and grinding ranked for Nika and all that kind of stuff, and Deathwalker, who's known for his theory crafting sometimes. I'm really excited to see what he decides to do and build in that solo lane, because he has a ton of options.
Now, before we get to the different team, there's going to be a lot of new items in this as well, I guess.
Yes.
So we're going to see different effects and things as we go through. Do you expect these guys are going to be sat in base reading through them all the time, or are we just going to be seeing a lot of random builds that may not make sense?
I mean, surely Aggro did a great job explaining every single new item and item change coming into patch 10.1 so they'll be good to go, right?
I told him the good ones, okay? Maybe. The ones that I think are good, but who knows?
Well, Clumsy, finally for you, who do you think, honestly, what god do you think would be cool to see today?
I was talking to some of these guys a little bit earlier, and I feel like when we're talking about the Unleashed jungle camps, that's going to be a lot of their strategies. Let's see how much I can just zoom. So we saw Amma on the pro stage a little bit. We might see a little bit more of her, because I think just keeping that powerhouse just moving, grabbing everything together. Gods who can traverse the jungle, I think for sure people are going to play around with the most. Okay, we'll see how those leaps and effects work out. We should have the second team ready on stage as well. Just have a little look at who's over there. There's Deathwalker. Good old Weaken and oh gosh, I'm glad we got Weaken over there, because Wraithlin's in mid lane as well. So it's going to be Deathwalker, Weaken, Wraithlin, Neilmar, and Ducky. Yeah. These teams seem kind of evenly matched. I'm not so sure about Wraithlin though. I mean, I'm a little bit worried about getting farmed in mid.
As long as Wraithlin doesn't run it down here.
Right.
I think the second team should be very, very comfortable with their position.
But that's kind of the point, right? Because we've got bastions.
Oh,
so even running it down is not the worst thing in the world.
Is that those shield things I saw in the trailer in front of the towers? What are they there for?
So tower bastions are a new mechanic that we added to sieging, but for the early game specifically. So as you'll notice, each lane has 2 tower bastions in front of their towers.
Okay.
And so killing them is a way to weaken the tower as well as give you and whoever's nearby some gold.
Yeah, so if you hear all the crowd cheering in the background, that's the first time Wraithlin and Weaken have been near a World Championship trophy there. They were taking a selfie with it, so the crowd got kind of hyped for that from me. So those bastions are going to come into play and just basically help you to weaken the tower earlier.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also a way to, in Smite, our laners like to push the wave and go straight into the jungle, and that's still a core gameplay loop that we feel is really important to Smite. But also for those that want to be able to push their advantage in lane and not necessarily have to go and do their impact elsewhere on the map. Now, if you are getting the advantage in your lane clear and in pressure in your lane, you can push into the tower a little bit more easily, get a more clear reward without having to worry about something like tower diving, which we know can be frustrating on the receiving end.
Anything to add, Clums?
Yeah, so another thing about this map is that we want it being entirely new, we wanted to kind of reset the foundations a little bit. So there's also going to be a lot of features that you may have loved or you may be confused by that are going to be removed from this one. So while the Bastion's there, the Trebuchets and the Obelisks are now actually going to be gone.
No Trebuchets?
Yeah, so we're seeing a lot of really cool plays around that right now. But again, we kind of want to reset and build from there.
Yep. Gotcha. Okay, one thing to mention as well, I heard there was more than 2 speed buffs on the map.
There are 4.
Yes.
In total.
Yeah, that's true.
Who's getting the second speed buff? Is that support speed buff? Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
Did you put anything in for us guys in support?
You get green.
Okay.
You can get green.
Yeah,
and
there's also, exactly.
Maybe a little gold buff as well. You can get a little something different. If your ADC or your jungler or your mid or your solo laner lets you.
If your solo laner is over there, I would be very surprised. But at the same time, they might be taking it from you. It's just that impactful.
Gotcha.
But the speed buffs more so about being able to make sure the jungler has to continue to jungle in order to keep up their effectiveness. And give you some more opportunities for, we know that players don't like clearing the default harpies quite as much. You know, dropping the buff is the fun part, so let's just drop some more buffs. Now you can stack your speed buffs up in order to get more effectiveness. Not with any other buffs. You can't take a speed and a red or a speed and a blue or anything like that, but 2 speeds stack together well.
So you all know we're not delayed or anything. The guys are just having a hard time choosing what god to pick for this map because they're kind of going in blind as well.
Yeah.
So as those guys get themselves set up, we're going to continue on here. Give me something else that we can talk about before we get into this game that's worthwhile mentioning before. The fans are going to probably notice it as soon as we get in.
I'm thinking shards.
Yeah, shards are definitely a big.
Yeah, tell me about these. So these are like, you get the starter relic we used to get, you know, obviously the ward at the start of the game, but now there's a choice there.
No, yeah, exactly. So instead of getting that vision shard relic, you're going to have just like a base default, just like you do with your normal relic. And just like with your normal relic, you can choose that into one of the other ones. Well, with that shard relic slot, you can choose that between 5 different shard relics. One of them is still the vision shards. If you want just the default, you want to make sure that you have that ward vision early on. It's honestly still pretty important. But with the other shards, they do allow for really significant, pretty interesting power plays. But with a long cooldown, same kind of cooldown as vision shard.
Gotcha. So you're going to be able to abuse, well, not abuse, well, I mean, you know how players will abuse what they can, but be able to use those in the early game and then transition those out for normal relics later on. Okay.
Exactly, yeah. Still supposed to be getting your relic at 12 the vast majority of the time, but these are very, very strong individual buffs that last for a short duration. So the stats are going to be pretty impressive when you look at them. You know, anytime you see like 40% attack speed or something like that, you're going to be thinking, wow, that's a lot. But it's for a very short amount of time.
Okay.
On a cooldown. They all share the same cooldown between the shards, but you have your choice based on what your god does best. So if, you know, movement speed and attack speed doesn't sound particularly appealing to you, how about stealing some procs or getting some power or reducing your cooldowns? Those are some of the things that you can do with the shards.
Which one, Lemmy, do you want to see played today? Which one would you like to see an experimentation, so to speak?
I would love to see a lot of Carapace Shard, and that is the one that Aggro is mentioning, steals protections.
Wow.
Of course, that buff doesn't stack, or debuff rather, doesn't stack on enemies, so don't worry, you're not going to 0 protections ever, but it is very awesome to be stealing those. You're stronger, they're weaker. Lots of plays to be made with that one in the duo lane, if you ask me.
Yep, duo lane, solo lane as well. I think Carapace can be really good. You know, soften up the enemy solo laner. I get tankier the same exact time. Shards are going to be something that definitely takes some players some time to get used to. I don't want to use it and then lose it, but I think that as players get more comfortable and are willing to let it rip more often, it's going to be really fun.
Well, here we go, into game, your first look at the Season 10 map. And we're going to start on the order side of things at the moment. Obviously, this is still not fully final. We will have a couple of things that you might not be used to seeing, like the trees all there for the spectator mode, but we'll give you the best we can. The map, it's so fat is the best way, and that's coming from me of all people. It's very wide. How long does it take to traverse this map, guys?
Give or take the rest of your life. No, it takes a long time, but it's not impossible to do, but certainly you have to be a little bit more wary of where you're positioning as a jungler or as a roaming support so that you aren't putting yourselves in a position where you can't help anybody else.
Now, honestly, I don't believe these players have even seen this map before, so they're kind of exploring. I think Nika's cheating with this, you know, by going the Jormungandr so we can just look over the walls real quick and go, oh, there's a camp over there as well. Huh. They both had actually Cthulhu as well for Deathwalker. That's interesting.
Neil is not going to do this, man. In a show match, he's about to invade.
You know, if the wall wasn't there, Neil, it would have been good. But it didn't. It was a good attempt for the most part. They're invading at the moment, though. They're getting aggressive in the jungle. How is the invade situation, boys and girls?
Still Invader's Curse. It's still there. You know, we still want to make sure that you aren't being completely stopped from doing what you want to do in the early game, but not completely take it out. You got to be a little intelligent with where you're grouping everything up.
Let's see everyone pull out the jungle monsters outside of their leash camps. Look at that. They're falling around.
Yep. Got to keep on hitting them. You see that little circle underneath in order to keep the aggro together, but you have to pull them together and clear both buffs at the same time.
Something tells me these guys are a little bit more prepared, Neilmar and Ducky there, as they started to rotate to lane 2. Meanwhile, the left-hand side of the map, you can see Team U-Rock are just doing near the purple buff. Deathwalker and Weaken, pretty much they went kind of speed into blue like we've seen before, really.
Yeah.
A lot of players kind of do that aggro, though, right? When the new map comes out, we kind of just go back to basics.
The tried and true there, but man,
Raven not again, already. First blood to U-Rock, and it's Wraithling down already in the mid lane. And a kill goes over to Elyon and the Relics.
Now, you get a lot of advantages from going for multiple buffs at once, but it can also get you to lane a little late and be a little dangerous, just like that. It was good clear there from Cancel that, or from U-Rock, rather.
Well, while the aggression's going on over here, you can see the jump in from Rexy, looking for the play on Ducky. Ducky slides away back to safety. And actually is near those bastions. Can those bastions be hit right now, for example?
Oh yeah, by abilities as well as auto attacks.
That's the exciting part, isn't it? Not only just the basic attacks, but abilities will be able to hit both the wave, the gods, and those bastions.
Oh, interesting. So that will keep weakening them down too. Well, speaking of weaken, Elyon is in the jungle trying to invade down this left-hand side. And I've noticed the pattern in these jungles, these left-hand side and right-hand side, there's more of an arc to the lanes now.
Yep.
Was that part of the design to make sure they're a bit wider in these lanes?
Wider, longer, a little bit more threatening for the laning phase, which is something that I think the players will have fun with.
Well, Leon's going to gank the duo lane now. Neilmar's knocked up. He wasn't even looking. Feather Step comes through, but Neil will survive. The axe hits from Rexy, but he's out of mana. And an escape there as U-Rock could have got their second kill of the game. Lermy, so far, everyone's kind of just gone back to, well, we'll just do the usual normal starts.
Well, yeah, it's great to see the pressure on that left-hand side because the gold buff has spawned. I mean, Weaken is there. Maybe he'll get it, but it looks like Elyon's going to confirm that one for U-Rock.
And that gold buff, what exactly does that do?
Well, you can see that shield and inbound health. He's got a little bit extra there, and that will last as long as the gold buff does or until that shield goes away.
Okay.
Just lets you be a little bit more aggressive in your lane, you know, get that extra little health shield. And gold buff is something that can stack with any other buff. So you aren't trading gold for instead of green or instead of purple. If you want it, you can take it if it's down, no matter what other buff you have, which is really fun in the same way that silver buff works as well. Both those buffs can be stacked with any other buff.
Oh, look at the aggression coming out. Good
Season 10, first look of how this is going on with that first kill just for U-Rock so far. But yes, with this moment right now, we'll see how this goes. Deathwalker trying to get some pressure on the right-hand side. The actual tier 1 towers are right and left in dual lane and solo lane. A little further away this time, a little bit more distance between them.
A lot more threatening in lane, for sure.
Or maybe with the pick, so you can get the puddles on both bastions almost permanently. Look at that. He's withering them away.
He's going to slowly just keep the pressure rolling in this lane because he will keep this rolling on as time. You can see a couple of these shards, though, being picked up at the moment. The Dog obviously hovering over some of these for the Season 10 map. I'm excited to see exactly which ones are going to get really used here. We've seen a couple. Aggro, tell me about that Horn Shard a bit.
Yeah, Horn Shard for those characters that want to make use of their abilities a little bit more often in the early game. So these effects are clearly very strong, right? You know, 0.5 seconds every second for the next 3 seconds on that 2-minute timer. I think that we see both solo laners go for it. I'm a little surprised to not see any Carapace there, but both supports went Carapace instead. I think Horn Shard has felt really, really good to just get those bursts in order to help trade in lane, though. I've definitely experimented a little bit with this in solo.
Look at this, Leon trying to proxy through the wave. But the bad news is he didn't look at the timers of those minions coming through as they came through the mid lane. He is spotted out, but no one's on this left-hand side to keep the pressure rolling. Instead, U-Rock are taking a purple buff off the invade. What's that Harpy doing?
Right by Leon.
He's a roaming Harpy. He's not quite as sedentary as his other Harpy brethren. So every so often, that Harpy camp, even when it's coming off of respawn, a roaming Harpy will begin to move around the rock on both solo and duo side and let you kind of get some plays there.
Okay. Well, it's nice to see a bit of a group up in mid looking for a pick on solo Double J, who's traded out the Weaken's Juke Boots too good for enough damage, and Wraithen gets a kill for himself. I wasn't expecting to say that today.
And solo Double J, I think if he had popped his Claw Shard before he went into his ultimate, it might have done some work for him there, because that's the one that gives you more power and some lifesteal during that time. So that would have helped out quite a bit during that Anubis ultimate.
Yeah, typically you like to see the Horn Shard in mid because cooldowns are just so important for those mages that love to spam, but specifically Claw on Anubis, that's a great synergy.
Yep, agreed. I like the pickup.
There. Will that minion aggro him in the jungle? Do they auto aggro if you're in the jungle near them?
No, they only aggro when you hit them.
So they're kind of friendly, you know? That's kind of
nice.
nice.
Bit.
And look at this. So green buff is now much closer towards mid lane, but Neil brought it over towards Ducky in order to get some help in order to clear it so that he didn't have to do it and get some farm for his ADC at the same time.
Yeah, very excited about having to take buffs to lazy carries that don't want to go for their own buff now, because go get it for me, support player. But
you're just as long as they rate you 5 stars, then it's worth it.
That's a good point. Do we have that? That'd be great. I think I can
Not yet, but yeah, who knows?
Well, we'll see how that works out. Continuing on with the show match, though, of the Season 10 map. I'm very excited to see how this goes. as the game goes on. Rafe back in base, having a hard time thinking about what to go for here at the moment. What is that item that Weaken's picked up? What's that? Is it a sword?
It is.
It's
a brand new katana over there.
A new katana?
It's a new katana. It's called Shadow Drinker, as Weaken just got absolutely ambushed. Yeah, we're used to that anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Shadow Drinker, now, when you kill an enemy god, you just go into stealth.
Wait, what?
Just another stealth.
Yeah, it's just stealth and movement speed for a little bit.
So you kill someone and you go stealth straight afterwards?
Correct.
Yep.
That's right.
Okay. Well, big fight on the right-hand side of the map is Deathwalker. Gets goon squatted by 4 members of U-Rock there. The rest have cancelled that, not doing anything. You'd hope they would do a Gold Fury or something, but instead it's going to be the Scorpion instead.
Hey, gold buff, pretty valuable. It's a good amount of gold and XP, and you get that shield to help with your next engagement, which is pretty important as well.
Speaking of other new items as well here, Clumsy.
Yeah, I was just looking at
Nika's
that.
picked it up, and so has Giannis in mid for racing. What is that item next to Tablet of Destiny?
So a new Mage Core item is the Tablet of Destinies, and it's pretty unique. It's a stacking item, so you can either get it with or maybe after or before Book of Thoth. And when you damage enemies' gods with your abilities, you gain stacks, and those stacks allow you to deal true damage with further abilities.
True damage.
Based on your max mana.
Okay.
Yes, and it's every stack you get, as Rexy's going to get ganked over here in the duo lane, Weaken should be able to clean this one up
He's got no
alongside
beads either. Oh, nearly for a second I thought he had an opportunity, but Weaken, and they're going to taunt on his corpse as well.
That's messed up. I mean, it's just a show match. That's how it goes. But going back to Tablet, as you continue to get more and more damage, or every stack you get deals damage based on the amount of stacks you have. So it continues to stack up. It's a new type of stacking mechanic that we're exploring not just on Tablet, but on another item that Inbound has picked up, where poking enemies with abilities is what gets you your stacks.
Well, there's a pressure fight in mid lane as Bobby gets pulled under the tower by Weaken there, but at the same time, Rafe did use his beads.
We see Apollo in the air too.
And in the air is Apollo coming crashing down. Ducky looking for a play onto Bobby, who will escape for now. Weaken back into the jungle. The Totem Maku real quick. I want to touch on that because this crowd has a real big issue with Totem Makus for some reason. What's the difference? Has it changed at all? Is it just moved to the side? Or?
There's actually a lot of changes coming to Totem. So it's no longer the Totem of Ku. It's now just the Totem.
Okay.
And so changing to the Totem means that there's got to be a lot of new stuff to come with it. So one thing that you'll notice the next time that it's up is that there's an aura around it. And that aura is especially good at giving you damage to clear the wave. Horizon coming in here.
Wait, hold up. How is he alive? What's going on? Wraith gets out, so does Double J. And reinforcements from Bobby and Leon combined to bring down Neil Ma.
And that time, he used the Claw Shard alongside the Bancroft's talent in order to lifesteal up. So it made a big difference there for him. Man, that was sick.
So yeah, the Q's getting done on the right-hand side now by Nika. What else does it do?
The Totem.
Sorry, Totem.
No, I'm just trolling you.
No, you're right.
So Totem now no longer in the side of the jungle or anything like that. It is now in the middle of the lane.
Yes.
But when it is up, it provides a damage aura to those around it. As Ducky got nowhere to go.
Boost speed.
Yeah, can't be doing too much about that. But it allows the solo laners to actually be able to deal more damage to each other, up the solo kill potential in solo lane, without giving damage to those characters, because if we did, then they would just rotate out of solo and kill the jungler or kill the mid laner. Now, you just deal more damage when fighting and when boxing in the solo lane.
Well, we get a first fight at the new Gold Fury pit. There is 4 entrances to it now. Or do we? It doesn't even look like Cancel not know what's going on here. It's taken them quite a while to bring down that Gold Fury, though.
It's a little bit more threatening in that pit now and just overall around the map. I think that, in particular, the new Fire Giant is going to scare some people off from time to time.
Deathwalker back in solo lane, still trying to just hold pace in this lane. His bastions in front of his tower have gone, and you can see the health down. The coup fight's going on, boys and girls. Who's gonna get it? The skulls will fall. Is it gonna be U-Rock? Nika gets it. The best play he's done all weekend.
Oh, come on.
Oh, come on. It had to be done. Okay?
Well, you're the savage guy. You're the savage. That's how people know you. You know, you got to do the savage thing.
Ah, the old days. Neil Ma in mid trying to juke out the gaze, but it's not going to be enough. As he'll fall down, pressure still rolling.
the horse ulti.
But there is still a Bastion there. They're going to try and dive the tower here. Looking for Rafe, who's trying to
he
get
didn't quite make it through.
Wow.
Disaster as Double J gets another kill, and Bobby giggles on his cam. Should they take the Bastion there or the tower in this instance?
The Bastion's better to get first because it reduces the protections of the tower. It doesn't deal damage to it, but it reduces its protections.
Well, Tier 1 finally falls in the mid lane, the first one of the game. Meanwhile, Ducky jumping in.
Wow.
Weaken with a good Sonic boom to the back line. Still alive though is Bobby and Solo Double J. It's Deathwalker that's going to die first, and now the U-Rocket marching on.
They're killing it right now. Inbound finds the stun onto Neil Mob, but it's Weaken who's in the most trouble.
Now next up the dive in, will find Weakeners on the backside. Neilma threw the boulder out, but now he's running for his life. A push back in for Bobby to get hit by Ducky,
impressive.
but it's not going to be enough for a kill. It's 3 dead on the side of Cancel That, and matchmaking in Season 10, please.
Yeah, this map, with how big it is, we're looking forward to seeing how it plays for the comeback potential because, you know, normally it's a little bit easier for a team who's ahead to just rotate over to you and stop whatever split push you're doing or stop whatever extra farming you're doing. But with the map being bigger in year 10, I wonder if it's going to give more opportunities to teams who are a little bit behind to spread the map out and find some farms safely.
And the other thing that we can see here is that while we've talked about the shards a lot, what's important is that you no longer just have that default option of Vision Shard. And
Yeah.
U-Rock are absolutely making sure that they keep purchasing wards every time they go back to base. I know that sounds kind of cringe, but it's true. If you look at the mini-map and in the store right now, they are buying wards non-stop because they cannot use the fallback of Vision Shard.
And it makes it a little bit more lethal in the early game because there are less free wards out on the map.
Exactly.
So junglers are getting a lot more like successful ganks, and supports are getting successful ganks off a little bit more often in playtests because not everybody has Vision Shard.
Well, that's around the Fire Giant pit right now is where Deathwalker is, or close to, I should say. He's moved a little bit further back.
And look
to
at that
there he is.
guy. Oh, yeah.
He looks scary, man. Like, he looks like he's here to really have a good old fight. Neil Maher is in a good old fight in mid lane right now.
Oh,
but
big
will
deal.
get some regen from the mitigate wounds.
Not
Not
enough.
enough to get away from El Leon, though. He'll bring him down as the kills keep running. I want to touch on real quick. We've not talked about it. The artwork on this map looks so good.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
solo
yeah.
lane, I saw a beach with
Yep.
crabs and water. That looks so good out there.
Yep,
Can
dual
you see
lane
that
is
when
the-
you're on the map? You know.
Oh
when-
yeah,
when- okay.
absolutely. As Rexy jumps
Oh,
in, but
yeah, look
Ducky
at
had
the
the bait.
But Rexy still has his beads and Aegis, holds his Aegis for then. Now falls back to the tower. Ducky trying to dive in, but he gets burst down already. Wait for the Yarnasil to jump in and get pressure rolling. He doesn't like where he is though and needs to get out of town soon and will. The chase is still on now, looking for the Yarnus, knowing his portal's on cooldown and the ultimate too. But there's no damage hitting him until Leon gets into the tower and finds the kill.
Good dive there on that side, and man, how about Bobby? 0-0-10. That's kind of the ideal support scoreline right
He might
here.
be looking for a team next year, boys and girls. Make sure you hit him up. He's trying to put on his performance already.
And he's got a lot of stacks on his prophetic cloak, which I think is another one of the items that people are going to be really excited about. So again, this is part of our new type of stacking item where you don't get stacks by killing or assisting on minions. You gain stacks by hitting enemy gods with abilities. So when you hit a physical god, you gain a stack of physical protections. When you hit a magical god, you gain a stack of magical protections. And once you have 15 of each, and these are in an aura, so it's a very good item for your team, it evolves to something even better for you individually. I think you're going to like it when it evolves, Graham.
What do you mean? It evolves? You're not going to tell me what it does when it evolves?
Well, you better hope Bobby gets enough stacks, or Neil.
Okay, this game's going to last that long then. I mean, it's only 40 minutes in, but I'm kind of worried already with the state of this one because the Pyro just went away of U-Rock, but cancel that. I'm trying to actually take the Pyromancer off their mole, and will do so.
Hey, what's that on the ground there, Clumsy? Is that something new?
Yes, the Pyromancer reward is actually going to be changing to be the Runic Bomb. And it looks like no one picked it up there, but Neil Ma getting
Did they know
picked
about
out,
it? Did they know what the
I
Runic
told
Bomb is?
them.
They might not
I
have
looked
realized
right in
it
their
was
eyes
there.
and told them about
There's
it.
a
but-
bomb on the ground is what you just told me.
That's right. And it goes into your inventory if you have a free slot. So if you have an open spot for your wards and or potions, then you get a Runic Bomb to use.
Ducky just stood still
Yeah, he
knowing he
knew.
was dead
It
then
was
as the
over.
dive came through for sure. But then looks like that buff wore off down in the jungle, so they've only got a limited time to pick it up.
Correct. Yep, you got to pick it up. You got a little bit of time afterwards, but just like any other buff, it will expire once it's on the ground for a little bit too long. But you want to use that in order to help push towers or do objectives. The Runic Bomb is going to not deal damage to gods. Yeah, sorry, I don't want to interrupt everyone's favorite
I was
part.
trying to cast that coup there. Everyone's they're upset now though because he just left it for the tier 1 tower on the right-hand side. Just Deathwalker over here now. I'm excited for the next Fire Giant to be honest, or the first Fire Giant ever, because I want to see what it does to people.
It messes them up. Although with the lead that you Rock have, it might not mess them up as much as it would in a typical
they're
match.
Up quite a lot at this point in time, but we'll have to see if they say the
there we go. I was waiting for us to see that.
Yeah, the chest in the jungle. What's that? What's that aura on the ground, guys?
That's right. So we found one of the new map mechanics, which is the Rogue Stash. And once that's found, you can hit it, and you get a little bit of gold for that. And also, the Cyclops Rogue will actually come back, harkening from the old days. And if you kill that, you can actually leash it around a little bit, and it'll drop a deployable once killed, also providing a little bit of gold that gives movement speed to your allies.
Oh, movement speed buff for your allies. Okay, that sounds good. Well, Rexy dueling with Neomar in the jungle on this left-hand side, trying to stop Rexy getting to his buff by the looks of it on that purple. Instead, it looks like Neil's going to try and take away these harpies, and he's taking them on an adventure. He's like the Pied Piper right now.
Yeah, those ones having a good time, but Neil might not be having as good of a time, but with that new winged blade that he has, very much like what you're used to, but now just a little bit better.
Just like when he's playing for Ronnie Warriors, alone, getting picked up, poor man, all focused down as the rest of his team just trying to farm up and keep busy. There's the winged blade pickup. I'm looking through items now to see if there's anything else in inventories I don't know.
Oh, there's a lot.
Yet.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
So now Winged Blade is very much the same as what you're used to, but when you're hit by a slow, it pulses out that slow immunity to all of your allies around you.
So your whole team gets a little bit of a help?
If you're within 30 units, then yes, you will also receive a slow cleanse.
Oh, this one is a killer item.
Yes.
Tell me about this, Lermy.
Archsteward's Fury is a new stone item, and this one is really great on your tanks. So get it in Guardian, get it on solo, either way. How this works is every time that you take damage, you get a stack depending on how much damage that you're taking there. So each time you take 5%, you're getting a stack. You can expend those stacks.
Oh, big one came up between the boys. This is Dave from Ducky. Where was that from? He gets the kill. That was just Assy that he got lifesteal with.
And a new little bit of a different look for Aussie. A little bit less early game, a little bit more big stats. So
these stats are way different than they were before, and we have given that passive a little bit more love. So not so much pen item anymore. This is for power and lifesteal.
Yeah,
I think that's also
more expensive.
Right, and that's really important to touch on because while you see a lot of new items, you also don't see a lot of items there too. For example, we see Demon Blade instead of Wind Demon. We can get into that a little bit later. It's important to see the general balance of items because there's a lot of things that have just shifted around.
That's right.
For anyone just tuning in for this Season 10 show match here, the update notes are going to be on Wednesday this week coming up. This is just a first look. You guys are going to be deep diving the whole of this whole update, I believe, and going through every single detail.
Exactly. That'll be on Wednesday, and PTS should hopefully be not too long after that for everyone to get their hands on it.
Oh, you've changed some dev there. I heard you just go, yeah, I'm not going to announce the exact date just in
Of course not. I've been around long enough. I know how it goes.
That Gold Fury pit, though, it gives you a good idea of what you're there to do with all that gold in the sides. Still waiting for a Fire Giant, but so far, if you Rock could get this, these 5 players are the first ones to get a Gold Fury, a Oni Fury, and a Primal Fury in the year 10.
They've done it all now. They've gotten them all here, but Nika's going to teleport over, try and help out inbound on Weekend and Wraithen, but doesn't quite get it. Nika also with another new item in the inventory. That's Stone of Binding, but a little better than it used to be.
Tier 3ified, you might say.
Tier 3ified. Now, same passive, but just health protections and doing it based on your level.
Neo got pulled into danger, but blinking from Deathwalker into the Cthulhu Ultimate, trying to rain down damage, and the madness begins. He takes out Rex's, but in tow, so does Rexy fall. Getting down Ducky too. Into the tier 2 tower goes a Leon. He's under pressure still, but on the backside, Deathwalker's escaping. Can Solo Double J find the kill as Nika tanks the tower?
Inbound now, the only one underneath the tower, but it looks like it is a retreat now for you Rock as they they're up by a good amount here. 9K in 18 minutes, 19 minutes is pretty insane, but still got to respect how difficult those jungle corridors are to fight in. Lots of narrow choke points where Cancel That might be able to turn the tide.
They've been doing a pretty solid job of that so far. I think now we're kind of getting out of shard time.
I was
Bye-bye
just staring
shards.
at that. I'm like, let's see who still has shards left. And I think the last one from Neilma, the Carapace, has now been changed. So yep, no more shards past level 12.
And you really feel it's best to still upgrade into the relics, not hold on to those shards,
Absolutely.
right?
Yes, yeah, they're very strong, but they're individual only. So even things like Frenzy, which are in the same type of vein as something like Claw Shard, you can just get it for your whole team. So it's usually, we anticipate that upgrading at level 12 is still going to be the move.
Is that a new Mail of Renewal I see down there?
No, it is a new item in the breastplate tree, actually, I do believe. My memory
Well,
serves,
new,
although
but
my art.
old.
Yeah, new but old. So no more Shield of Regrowth. Instead, it is Breastplate of Regrowth. It's the same passive that everybody loves, but in a new tree with a new stat spread. And in moving some existing items around, can really enabled us to open up our space for more cool ideas in trees that needed the space.
Yeah, I think Lermy was alluding to Uller picking up. Look at that next to the ward in the consumable slot. What's that?
That's the Runic Bomb. He picked it up. I can't wait to see where he uses it because that's going to be dealing a lot of damage to either a tower or really anything. That's the best part about this bomb is that you can use it in the middle of a team fight. You can use it to secure objectives. But
you can use a 1v1?
There he is. Plays it right now.
Ducky killed it. Ducky killed it. You can basic attack it down, but the Runic Bomb is really there to help on your sieging in particular and finding around objectives. So it's excellent at dealing damage to towers.
Man fight again in the duo lane between Rexy and Ducky getting the better end of it again. Has more sustain in his kit. Rexy happy to take the trade though. Tries to thread the axe. Didn't find a home. We can now rotating in. Rexy could be getting baited here, or is it Ducky? Because in comes inbound and now Leon, and Ducky's trying to get out in time. Bursted down already. You rock with another kill.
Yeah, Ducky's Demon Blade not doing quite enough there, and it might look like an item that you're familiar with, and that's by design because this is another item that has been moved in its tree. So Wind Demon, no longer a part of the game. Instead, it is Demon Blade building out of the short sword tree. Very same passive, all that kind of stuff.
Here we go. Here we go. The crowd likes PvE. They're going to enjoy the FGP. The ring round, fire around the outside. Raythan's going to ward in though. So cancel that. No, this is going on. The grouping begins. Everyone's focusing Neilmar down at the start of this fight, and they will drop him down to 0-7. Fire Giant still leashed by U-Rock, as you guys said. They are pretty tanky at the moment.
Yep, absolutely. And Inbound's taking a lot of damage. Deathwalker in, and he's going to do quite a bit with the build that he has. That tablet starting to put it in, but it's the Anubis who gets the kill.
I love it. Cthulhu's still a little bit larger than even the new Fire Giant in its ultimate.
Yeah,
Fire Giant's still leashed, but it's taken a long time, and Nika eating a ton of damage. Ducky dunks on in. Raven's just watching from the side with his ultimate. Will throw it out. Meanwhile, Fire Giant getting low, and the first Fire Giant of the year 10 show match is going to go the way of U-Rock.
Huge knock up there from Inbound, and it's just easy pickings now for U-Rock. They get the fire, they get 4, and Inbound ends up surviving as well, getting a little bit of healing there through the 3 and getting the little buff from it with the Breastplate of Regrowth.
So
That's a lot of buffs.
A lot of buffs.
That's a lot of buffs.
So you can just put them all on top of you?
Yeah, why not?
And now imagine for your Tiamat as well. You can still use
there's one more still.
Duplicate even more for your team. We'll tier 2 down this right-hand side and onto the Phoenixes. First little look at them. They look so pretty, those birds.
Yeah, this base is very difficult to siege, but certainly not impossible. But I think that it is a little bit more defender advantageous than in previous years.
I don't want them to end. Why are they trying to end? I want to keep talking and looking at more stuff. Why are you guys trying to go in the pit and end the game? We're going to kill Ducky and now turn their attention towards the Titan, and the Titan's under threat. Please cancel that. Do something. I want to keep this going.
Neil's coming in, might be able to find a good pluck as Bobby's taking a lot of damage, and Deathwalker's ultimate not quite ult yet, and that's why when he gets pulled in, it's not going to go well for him.
Bursted down. The composition of U-Rock working out really well. Bobby trying to dive to the back. We can still in the mid lane, trying to keep the pressure off those minions and drag them around. U-Rock just trying to farm in the fountain area now.
Yeah, not a great position here for Cancel That. And you can tell because Raythan, with the Tablet of Destinies, it can also kind of be a abilities hit counter in a way. So only hit 15 enemies since with abilities since he's gotten that. But maybe it does have an internal cooldown, so maybe a little more than that.
Neilmar just trying to keep this game going as long as they can, but it looks like U-Rock are trying to end. They want to deny you more of looking at this new map that we're going to see in a couple weeks' time. But at the moment, Cancel That's still holding on. And instead, it is a farm off in. They're just enjoying themselves. It's the first time they really get killed.
Oh, Rexy got pushed. Neil caught him back into the fountain, but the Aegis saved him. That was such a good play from Neil.
Wow.
And that's going to be the end of the Season 10 show match here. If you're upset about not seeing more, please blame the players that just won the game. You know their names and their socials.
Leon went 15-0 and 12. It's his fault more than anybody else.
I mean, luckily Deathwalker won an award earlier because he's not happy now. Raythan did exactly what I thought he would.
What was that?
Exist. That was about it. There's not much else. What else, Clumsy? can you tell me that we may not have seen during that match?
Yeah, the one thing that's kind of the passive permissive effect as well is the God class stat bonuses.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
something that we probably could have gone on a lot earlier,
Good
but
point.
there's just so much going on, is that each of those classes, each of those roles, they were getting a unique buff that's completely new to them from before. And we saw a little bit of that in the keynote show.
We did, and I'm sure we'll see even more of that when we get to the update show. Come this Wednesday,
That's right.
Yes.
where you guys are going to deep dive all of that. Lemmy, for you, what else would you like to touch on or have an opportunity to say regarding it?
Yeah, as Agro mentioned earlier, over 40 changes to items, whether that's new
Tier
items.
3s only.
Tier 3s only, yes.
Tier 3s only, so it's
That's
not
not
like
even counting the
tier
tier
1s and tier 2s.
Yeah,
exactly. A lot of significant ones. Sorry,
So
I
that's
didn't cut you off.
new items, reworked items, removed items.
Yep.
Lots of awesome stuff coming up.
That's right. I think, the itemization change, we've heard what Smite fans really seem to like, which is that, they love the game, they love what's going on, but they also want it to feel a little bit different than it has. They've been playing for 10 years, we're going into our year 10. So I think we really took that to heart and tried to stay core to what Smite is and what Smite does, but it means that we're willing to shake things up a little bit more than we used to be in the past. So there are some items that, yes, do end up getting removed. If they're sorely missed, we can always bring them back in a new form or, in a glyph or anything like that. So I'm not too worried about that. I really think that the new types of items that we're exploring and how different the build is going to feel for as many different roles as possible is going to make it feel like a totally new game.
Exactly.
Tumsy, how about yourself? Is there anything you can think of, final thoughts or anything you want to say?
The final thoughts, as usual, is just like, just a big shout out to the entire dev team working on
Yes.
Time
Yeah.
Forge.
Yes.
Like, whether it's the gameplay, making all these things happening, whether it's the art teams, the environment teams, the level design teams, it's a massive labor of love every time. And for year 10, we really wanted to hit it out of the park.
Yeah.
Honestly,
absolutely.
for me, who's been around for a long time in this scene, like one of the most exciting times I've seen in terms of what we're going to see coming into Season 10. So thank you so much for all showing you all today. But guess what, boys and girls? It's time shortly to move on and find out who is going to be our Season 9 World Champions. For now, though, we're going to go to a break, and after that, it's game time.